Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Icon. Thank you so much for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are back on board with PRESTINNI as the Chicago Huntsmen go to battle against, in this one, we're watching them play Triumph. So Triumph is a challenger squad. They have some names that you'll probably recognize from the past, especially Nagafin, played on Gen G last year. But the second scrim that they had was against London, and we uploaded London yesterday, so I didn't want to do that again just because I figured I would switch it up a little bit, and what better way to switch it up than to watch them scrim a challengers team. So as we actually get into the analysis, into the breakdown here, there are 30 seconds-ish left on the P1 Hardpoint, and the first thing that I noticed is that Chicago really hasn't been able to push up very far. And I know that they don't want to push up, but a couple of your SMGs, especially an SMG like PRESTINNI that plays so fast, he would be that person that's pushing forward, trying to get the enemy team as he's doing right now. Literally, just as I was explaining that, you see that he's the one that's pushing forward, trying to save his team some time there. And as he made that rush, he got there with like 15 seconds left. So you might think, well, you know what, it's P1, it's not all that big of a deal. But that 15 seconds could play a major role later on in the match, right? Who knows if it actually would, but either way, it's a nice job of him, at least just saving himself and his teammates that 15 seconds. And now, as we get into what's actually happening in P2, it looks like he keeps spawning on the right-hand side of the map. So basically what's happening, Minimap, bottom left-hand corner of your screen, is that as Triumph left P1, they kept pushing this P4 or this back, the bottom side of the map over here. So as Preston continued to die, he kept spawning back on this side. So this is kind of that top of the map, bottom of the map thing where most of the time you're funneling in or Chicago's funneling in through the side door, through the back door. Every once in a while you'll send somebody mid-map trying to get a pinch here out front. But most of the time, that hill ends up being pretty contested. And I think it's pretty safe to say that's what happened there with that P2. Now, it wasn't contested all the time, right? Chicago did end up getting about 35 seconds there. And it did look like they were able to sneak through, but they're going down. So as that rotated there from P2 to P3, they weren't able to get all the way behind that P5 into that warehouse so that they could secure those spawns in the back. And that's a little bit unfortunate because now as they progress from P3 to P4 to P5, you want to constantly push out through boxes so that you can get back behind if you get the spawns in P5. And once you have P5, you're able to push out on both sides. Then you can really do some damage in terms of the scoreboard. And this is really weird, by the way. PRESTINNI has been looking towards boxes basically the last 30 seconds, and not a single person has been there. That's the first person that we've seen come through boxes, and that's super weird. So let me explain that real quick. Let me pause this. Let me go to the minimap so that we can break this down. But if you're Triumph and you have these back P5 spawns and you're currently on this P3 hill, then there's really only a need for maybe one person mid and maybe one person watching woods, but the rest, especially your fast SMGs, should be pushing into P3 because what's the reason for nobody else going to P3? I get that you want to hold spawns for P5, but one person, if you think about it, should be able to hold down the middle and the right-hand side of the map. Chicago is spawning over here, and as they're pushing forward, the majority of them are going to be pushing this choke point into P3. Now, somebody might be going mid or somebody might be flanking over towards woods, but the majority of Chicago is going to be hitting P3, so the majority of Triumph should also be going through boxes and hitting P3. So a little bit of an awkward setup there. I kind of figured most of the time the team that has the spawns, the P5 spawns, as it rotates to P3, ends up getting the majority of the time inside of P3, and that's just not what happened there. So a little bit interesting. I wasn't really expecting that, and with that, there was just a kill in the back. with that, it looks like spawns are probably going to flip. And if spawns flip here with 30 seconds left in the P4 hardpoint, if spawns flip and Chicago has control of P5, then I think that this map is probably going to get away from Triumph. Just because, especially in P5, if you're able to get time inside the hardpoint, you have map control, and you're able to get pushed up, then things get really iffy. I'm actually interested to see how PRESTINNI plays P5 here once they have map control. So, again, minimap bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you have this spawn and you're watching P5, if you push out up here and the enemy pushes out over towards woods, then it becomes a top of the map versus bottom of the map spawn situation, just like we had in P2. But if you're pushed up in both sides in these areas, now all of a sudden that's continuing to push back the enemy team spawn. So the ideal scenario would be getting pushed up on both sides. Now, will they be able to do that? Who knows? It looks like they're struggling to hold the current hard point, but that would have been the ideal setup. All right, so I want to see where PRESTINNI comes up off a spawn. My guess would be over towards Cole. So this is what we were talking about throughout that demonstration, is that as he spawns Cole, that means that Triumph is spawning in woods, and there's a big choke point right in the middle, right? So a lot of those people will be meeting right in front of P5. And Preston now off of spawns looks like he's going to try to be the person that tries to flip. There's two in crates. He gets killed from behind. Now, this could end up working out well for Chicago, because if they killed PRESTINNI right there, then they might think that he was the last one trying to sneak through, but there was somebody else back there. I can't see. I wish I could see on the minimap where each player was. I don't know if it was Arcides or Formal or whoever was able to sneak through. We'll see if they're able to win those big gun battles. I'm just watching the minimap in the top left-hand corner, and it looks like Formal was back there. We'll see where so right there. Looks like Formal was the one that was able to rotate around and pick up spawns for his team. But right now it's a 140-70 ball game. So with that, I want to go ahead. I want to turn up the desktop audio. I want to make sure you guys can listen in and hear the team comms. And with that, let's go ahead. Let's listen in to Chicago's team comms.
You went right.
Yeah, woods.
I think he's right.
Woods, one shot, woods, dead. I'm dead on hill, I died.
Inside green.
Right, guys.
I'm right. I'm pushing up right.
You and green.
Are you guys right?
I got time, guys. I got time.
One's crate.
So, real quick, this is very similar to what we saw in the first set of rotations. They weren't really able to stop or contest or even get time inside of P1, but they were super concerned about holding down spawns for P2, which is fine. Sometimes it's nice to be able to get 10 or 15 seconds or not give up 15 or 20 seconds inside of P1. So this isn't necessarily going to hurt them, but this is very reminiscent. It's almost going exactly as the first set of rotations did. Let's listen back in.
Dude, seat on weak, man.
Someone try to get out. Help.
Front door.
He jumped over my bros.
I'm
I'm playing my bros. Yeah, my bros.
Beam, fellow weak.
You jump past him.
You go.
Yeah, rotate.
I was just going to say, it looks like PRESTINNI's the first to rotate. We'll see if he's able to capture spawns for his team, but he did get killed from that corner there. So we'll see now if they're able to push out towards mid-map and towards the left side of P5 so that they can get spawns, unlike what they did the first set of rotations. With that, let me pause this real quick. Let me break this down for you guys because I want to make sure you guys understand exactly what the strategy is right there. So if you're inside of P2, easiest way is to go through B-Dom and get to P3, right? But most important is getting these back spawns. So rather than try to force over towards P3, a lot of teams now are sending people both mid-map and through P4 to woods, really trying to flank out here. Because if you can get those spawns, especially where Chicago's at right now with 190 points, if they're able to get these spawns, then they can basically win off of P5. Now, will they? Who knows if that's how it's going to end up going, but you could almost forfeit what happens inside of P3 and inside of P4 as long as you get time for P5. So most important thing right now is being able to flank through and get those P5 spawns. Let's go ahead. Let's hit play. Let's listen back into their team comms.
I'm one shot here.
Cole Platt dead. Another one Cole Platt. One's lockers. There's two front guys. They're not even looking at hill.
One in.
Good job. Good job, Dylan. We're good. Flood hill.
Okay, just like that.
Yo, you guys play that. I'm going.
That's exactly what we talked about right there. So it looked like Envoy was the one that was able to sneak through the back. They're able to get spawns. And now with 30 seconds left, my guess would be the last 30 seconds are probably going to go towards Chicago. They'll try to contest on P4. And then, ooh, nice melee there from Prestini. And then they'll try to hold down spawns and win off of P5.
Another one here.
Hill dead.
Nice.
Good I'm getting forced.
I'm gonna try and rotate. Yo, he's outside green. This guy's like frozen in air.
Nice.
More front.
Nice, good job.
Could be
On the back.
I'm getting silent.
Dirt ramp fellow.
Ramp fellow, one shot.
In you.
Absolute ramp, guys.
Fuck. I'm gonna try and get middle map. He's in green.
Still dirt, guys.
Tried for the melee.
It was trying to be great.
Bro.
One's been on me too.
Yeah, top crate.
Trying to get green.
Wow.
Green dead.
Absolute top crate.
I killed green.
Top
Pick up left.
I have left.
Hill dead and no one top crate. Yeah, he's in hill. He's challenging right. He's challenging right side.
Pick it up.
He's outside right side. Yeah, I got left.
You dead?
Mid
tracks.
Yo,
Pick tracks.
pick off left.
I'm hiding in the smoke.
For what it's worth, it does seem like this is going how we thought it would. I would have liked to have seen at least like 10 or 15 seconds go Chicago's way here, and maybe that's what'll happen here, but maybe not. Just because if you were to get this to like 220, then now you're definitely probably going to win on P5, right? If you only need 30 seconds on P5 and you have map positioning and you have spawns and you have initial hill control, then you're probably going to be... It's probably going to go your way. But if you need 35, 40 points, then it becomes a little bit easier for the enemy team to get in and get 10 or 15 points. So let's go ahead. Let's listen in. Let's see what happens here.
One shot middle boxes dead. Gonna be PB3 on me.
One's weak.
I want P3.
Whole spawns.
Come back to contact.
Yeah.
They could be forced.
Kill
Can't
feed
jump
on
off on
left.
this.
3 keys from formal.
2 on me. 2 P3. One's one shot. Super weak.
They're all spawning over towards
That guy's.
They gotta
Other guy's one
rotate
shot and
We got
shipping
one
already.
off.
Chicago.
Yeah, we do. This is nice.
Make
They
all of your
didn't
resources.
On you,
put them
dead.
towards
Dead.
Chicago.
Here.
Hey, Dom, absolute. Sandy dead.
Yeah, put them towards Chicago. Put them towards boxes over there. See if you can get through. And with that, it's a 250 to 119 victory. So I will say the second set of rotations was much better, right? They were able to sneak through. They were able to get P2 control. They were able to get a ton of time off of P2. As it rotated to P3, they were able to sneak behind, get those P5 spawns, get time in P3. P4, they weren't really able to contest all that much. And then as it went to P5, they had it locked down. And that is how they ended up closing off the map. So as you look at the scores here, Prestini was 26 and 28. Probably not his best map. Everybody else on Chicago did much better. Envoy 33 and 20, exactly what you expect from him. Arcity's 26 and 21 with almost 2 minutes of hill time. So nice job out of him being in the hill, being that person that's always objective based. And with that, that wraps up our coverage for today. So if you're new around here, you enjoy this sort of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I put out brand new videos like this every single day. Any comments whatsoever, put them down below. I've been loving the interactions, the comments the last few days. So make sure you go ahead and let me know what you think on today's video. Leave a like before you head on the way. It really helps out the channel. And with that, guys, thank you so much. I will catch you in tomorrow's upload.